Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today I'm going to be sharing you an easy masking technique as well as some beautiful ink blending using our mask stencils. These are really easy to use and they're really helpful and do save a lot of time as well. So to start with, I'm going to be using the Wallpaper Art Stamp Set, and I'm going to be using this beautiful flower here to start with. So firstly, I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to ink my flower up and I'm going to stamp this down into place. I do have a little bit of foam under me. It's an old mouse mat, and I do find that this helps a lot as well. I'm then going to take the mask from the Wallpaper Art Mask Stencil that coordinates with the stamp that I've just done. I've added a little bit of tape behind it and took some of the sticky off so I can remove it later on. I'm then going to take the leaf from the Wallpaper Art Stamp Set again, and I'm just going to ink this up where I want it to be. So as you can see, I've just inked up those bottom 3 leaves, and then I'm just going to stamp this into place. Now we already have that mask in place over that flower, so this is not going to stamp on top of it. Now you're really going to want to press this down. That's why I have the foam underneath, just to get around that mask stencil, but it really works really well to mask out that flower. I'm then going to add over the additional image, so this is the leaf image, and then I am going to stamp another element. So I'm going to take one of the vases from the Versatile Vases stamp set, and I'm just going to pop this into place. Again, I've inked it up using permanent black ink, and I'm really going to squidge this down to make sure I've got that around the mask stencil. So I'm just going to remove my pieces now, and you can see how beautifully that has masked those out without any fussy cutting at all. I'm then going to take the stencil part of the mask stencil, and I'm going to place this around my image. Now this is going to completely go around it perfectly, and it's really great. I've added the center using some of the Autumn Blaze ink and a finger dauber. I've just added that into the center, and I'm then going around the center using some Coral Bliss, sorry. So I'm just going around. I wanted some lighter bits at the edges, so I'm going right up to the edges, and that stencil is going to keep all that ink in it within that flower. I'm then going to add the mask over it again. Reason being, I'm going onto the leaves this time, so I want to mask out my flower before I place the stencil around my leaves. So that's going to mask the flower out while I do my leaves. So I'm going to pop this into place, and I'm then going to use some grass field ink. Again, my little finger dauber is a very trusty tool with this, and I'm adding more ink at the base of my leaves and kind of gradually going outwards. So you don't really need that many inks when you are ink blending, because you can get different shades by varying the pressure that you do add. I've added the mask on top of the leaves again, and I'm using the mask stencil from the Versatile Vases set, and I'm just adding some sea glass around the edge here just to give me kind of a glass bowl effect. Once I've done that, I can remove the stencil and both of the masks, and there is the little image complete. It's very cute, well, nearly complete. I did want to add a little stem, and there is a stem in the Wallpaper Art Stencil, and I'm just going to add this in using a little bit of that green again. I'm then moving on to another panel. Again, this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to stamp my images again. I'm using all of the flowers from the Wallpaper Art Stamp Set, so I'm just going to pop these into place around the bottom of my card. So I've stamped the first one. I'm then going to stamp the smallest one over in this corner here, but because I want to go behind that one, I am going to add that little mask stencil over the top. So this is just the mask part. I'm then going to take the third flower and stamp this into place. Again, these have all been stamped with permanent black ink. So as you can see, I'm really squidging that around the mask stencil so I get a really great impression. I'm then going to add the masks onto the other 2 flowers so I can then stamp the leaves. I've then taken the large leaves again from the Wallpaper Art Set. I think these are some of my favorite leaves of all time. They are very pretty. So I'm going to stamp them in between the little cluster that we've got going on at the bottom. And then I'm going to stamp it a further 2 times, coming from the edges as well. So it gives me my cluster of 3, which I really do love. So I'm just going to pop them into place and really give it a good squidge around those masks. They are a little bit thicker than cardstock, so it does take a little extra pressure, and that foam pad that I've got underneath really does help. Again, as before, I'm going to add some colour through the mask stencils, the stencil part of the mask stencil. Again, I'm going to use the same colours. So I've used Autumn Blaze for the centre of this flower, and I'm then going to use that beautiful Coral Berry. Even though this is one of the first inks that we ever come out with, it's still one of my favourites, and I always go to it. It's one of my favourite pinks. It's such a different pink, and I really, really do like it. So as you can see, I'm just going in with a finger dauber. I do find that this really does help. You could use a larger ink blending tool if you have one, but I do find that these work really well, especially for smaller spaces that we've got going on here. Again, I've added the Autumn Blaze to the centre of that flower and some Coral Berry. I keep trying to say caramel toffee when it's not, sorry. So it's the Coral Berry, and then I've added the mask on top of that flower that we do have in the front before I do end up ink blending this one behind. So again, the same colours as before. I'm then going to add the masks onto the further two flowers. Again, there's a little bit of adhesive still behind them so they don't move around too much. And I'm going to use the same green, the Grassfields ink, from before to colour in all of these three leaves here. So again, I'm just adding the stencil around the image and then adding the colour through. I did have a little bit of a gap at the bottom corner there, the right hand side, so I've just added a little bit of green in there just to make the image more pulled together, so I don't have a little bit of white at the bottom. I wanted that little green there just to kind of play that there are some leaves there when there are in fact none. I'm then going to remove all of my little masks and then take some jet black spray ink and add some splatter just for a cool effect, and I do think it makes it look pretty arty. I'm then going to add this to a card base, and a sentiment I'm adding from the Thank You Builder, a great set, and I love all the thank yous on it. I've just added a little bit of the Essentials black and white spotty paper behind this just to add a little bit of interest to the card as well. For the second card, I have cut down my panel that we did first, and I've added this again onto some of that spotty paper from the Essentials black and white, and added another sentiment from the Thank You Builder in this really fun font here. So I'm just going to chop that from behind just to give it a really clean edge, and here are the cards complete. I really do hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you've seen how easy and quick these mask stencils are to use. They really are a huge time saver, and I love that we're coming out with these with our stamp sets as well. So again, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Again, I really do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do want to watch any more videos, there's a couple more here that you can watch in your own leisure. And if you don't want to miss out on any videos that we do upload to the channel, it would be great if you do subscribe. Again and again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.